All right, good morning. The weather has shifted here in Utah. Last weekend I was out here baking, and this weekend I'm out here in a jacket. So, work proceeds no matter what. So, we're going to take this running, driving car, and we're going to go carve the canyons today. Oh, wait, no, that's not this video. This video, we're actually going to yank that running, driving engine out of the engine bay. So that's what we're going to do. This sounds extremely petty, but as you all know, I've been planning on yanking out this engine anyway. I obviously flipped the car around after our last video. I was just checking things out, and yeah, after I got the bumpers mounted up, I just turned it around, just kind of checking things out. I was thinking about taking it for a little drive, but it was actually misfiring pretty badly. And so I kind of came in here, unplugged my injectors, and number 3 made no change. So obviously I wasn't firing on that cylinder. And while these are the original Hitachi injectors, and those are usually suspect for failing, I knew that it was running really rich because I could smell it from a mile away. So I started pulling out plug wires, and sure enough, I pulled out plug number 3. We got oil all over the place, and it's swimming in a pool of oil down there and causing it to not fire on number 3. So what we most likely have is a bad valve cover gasket that's leaking down that cylinder wall and filling that cylinder with oil. And instead of just yanking off the intake manifold and doing all that work and replacing the gasket that's actually failed, I decided that I'd rather spend the time and effort yanking out the entire running engine and putting in the engine that I actually intend on having in here. There's a lot of work to do, and I don't know how much I'm going to be able to do today. So obviously, first things first, we're going to have to strip off this whole front end that I just put on. So bumper, grille, headlights, front cross members, so forth. Radiator hose, radiator needs to be drained. Luckily, it's just water, so not worried about that. We need to start detaching accessories and pulling the entire long block. Along with this, because I'm using that ABY intake manifold that comes all the way up here, we're going to have it comes all the way up around here. We're going to have some problems with the battery. So battery's got to be removed. Battery box probably needs to be removed. And we're going to have to route battery cables up to the front. So there is no shortage of things to be done. If I'm going to be moving that, it means I'm going to be probably putting the battery all the way in the back of the car. And I picked up some cable to do that. I will obviously be yanking out all of the wiring harness that comes through the firewall over here, which means moving things around over here. Also means moving around things on the inside of the car. So I'll probably also be pulling the dash, or at least the lower dash. But when I pull the dash, it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, I might as well replace the heater core. It's a problem of scope creep. I did talk about 6-speed swapping it. I don't have all the parts I need right now. And so I think I'm going to save that for a later time. I don't think I'm going to swap out the transmission when we swap out the engine. I'll probably swap out the engine now and then go from there. I haven't driven on this transmission a lot, so I don't know if everything's okay, but initial stuff seems to be okay, and there's no grinding or problems with first, second, or third. So, yeah, I'm going to turn this car around again and park it, and then we'll start getting it up on jack stand, start draining fluids, and start pulling stuff out. Actually, before I do that, I still have the other engine that I need to go through and finish bolting things onto. I still need to bolt up the turbo to it. I need to finish bolting the intake manifold onto it. Of course, all the accessories that go with the intake manifold. Fuel injectors, fuel rail, probably some emissions stuff. All sorts of fun stuff still needs to go onto that motor before anything else happens. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens here. We're going to start working, though, and we're going to start doing what we can do. And, yeah, I don't know how far we'll get. You will know before I do. I'm going to preface this by saying I bought this based off of a friend's recommendation I don't know if this is the actual right size. It's a large tap, and I don't know what size it is, and I don't really have a way to measure it. I'm ill prepared when it comes to those things. Don't know if I showed this before, but camera probably won't focus or show. Oh, a little bit. You see this line right here? So that is actually kind of a gouge. And what I want to do is I just want to chase these threads and get them cleaned up. These are what the injector cups look like. They go in and they thread in. But I want to clean up the threads first. So I have this tap, and hopefully it is the correct size and thread pitch to do it. This is a big ass tap. But in one of the cleaner threads, or in the cleaner holes, it looks to be going in nice and smoothly. We'll get some lube when we're actually doing some that count. This one didn't have anything really bad, but looks like it's threading in decently, so that's a good sign. Brent, you were right. Good guess. Yes, everyone's going to say that's not how you tap, but I want to remind everyone that there is like almost no clearance between that. I can't actually get a real tap on here, but I am using cutting fluid, and this is aluminum. And yeah, it's actually cutting really nicely up until the point where I drop the wrench on camera. Okay, we've chased all the threads. We've also gone crazy with the blower, trying to get any of particle remnant, whatever might have been there, out. And we're feeling pretty good. So moving forward. Okay, so I've mentioned a lot of things. Okay, so we got the intake manifold officially mounted. I needed to get other hardware. I was stupid and didn't buy it when I bought the phenolic spacer. This phenolic spacer is actually out of Poland. It's from a company called Youngtimer Motorsport, I believe. Never purchased from them before, but I'm actually pretty happy with the fit and finish. It also had these little phenolic spacers for the bolts, which I thought was kind of funny. Not sure if it makes a difference, but we went with it anyway. I liked the fact that it was included and kind of thought that they had. So that's all in there. Intake manifold's feeling solid. And now we're going to continue by putting on throttle bodies and other bits and bobs and intake air temperature switches and maybe fuel rail and fuel injectors. Definitely a new piece of vacuum line there. We also have to do that turbo. Got the gasket ready to go. Need to do mounts still. A lot to do. Keep moving. Okay, this is basically ready to go. Got turbo installed. Ready to go here. Nick and I started stripping off the front end, putting things over here while we remove the stuff that's not needed. So I'm making Nick do all the work because he's better. He's cheap labor. So cheap. Okay, we're at the splitting point. If the time lapse is working, then it's working. If it's not, it's not. We started around noon. I think it's 5. What time is it? Let's look at the phone. That's 4:30. So we didn't start until noon. It's 4:30 now. We also took like a 2-hour break for, well, maybe an hour, at least an hour for lunch. We're lazy. Anyway, engine is ready to come out. It's all disconnected, more or less. It is now split from the transmission. That is actually visible. And we're going to pull this out. And then we have the other one ready to go in. Right over here. Boom. Much prettier. And then we also have like a table full of parts that we've taken off the car that's going back on the car. Random tools. And then a bunch of the S2 bits. So we have like our downpipe, oil pan extension, fuel rail, charge pipe, S2 airbox, RS2 intercooler, and cross member. So those are all going back in, and this stuff is coming out. And it's all separated. So here we go. No engine. Engine.
Clutch looks good still. Look at that.
That's actually funny. Look at that. There's paint marks. It's like almost like it came out of a junkyard, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
Anyway, we got the engine out. I think we're gonna take a little bit. Oh, I didn't get one of those.
You don't have a throwout bearing?
I didn't buy a throwout bearing. Son of a bitch.
Well, that puts a dampener on things.
I might have one.
I think I have one at home.
Let's see. But we are gonna pressure wash this engine bay, get it cleaned up, strip out the wiring harness that is in here that is no longer needed. Start working on wiring the other stuff in. A lot of zip ties to cut, a lot of stuff to move around. That thing's gonna screw things up. Legit too.
Fire pliers. There, yep, that's that right there.
Oh, this is that seam sealer. It's that super duper strength.
That West German seam sealer.
I wish you got to experience American-made German ones like we have. Westmoreland seam sealer is a joke.
They're ridiculous.
They feel like 2 inches.
The what? The seam sealer from the Pennsylvania.
When they had
car.
the Westmoreland factory for Volkswagen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they put like, if they weren't using a hole for like a certain engine option, duct tape, seam sealer.
Yep. That's literally from the factory.
Classy.
When Jordan pulled his truck apart, he found Coke cans in the inner fenders.
Jeez.
It was like every car that was built on a Monday. Yeah. They were on strike more than they weren't.
Dang, dude.
Okay, so I didn't film a whole lot of stuff yesterday, but it's Sunday morning. Just wanted to do a recap of yesterday's work. Car, cleaned out engine bay. So we actually cleaned and degreased everything and kind of defunked a lot of stuff. Looking better. We also seam sealed and cut out our battery tray. I'll probably just put some primer over that for now. We got the harness pulled over here, kind of out of the way and ready to be extracted. We also removed dashboard, interior bits. Obviously, this is a common failure for these cars. The foam here deteriorates over time, and air stops going where it's supposed to go when it's supposed to go there. So we're going to fix that. We're actually probably 99% sure going to switch over here. This is a manual climate control box from a B490. So we're probably going to switch over to that guy, which is still going to involve, even though these flaps look decent here, on the interior, this is actually the more important one because this is the one that either determines heat or cool, and it's deteriorated. So we're going to recover that. I also have a all metal heater core that we're going to try out. It appears to be the same dimensions and size and everything like that. I've never tried one. Gonna go for it. It's basically a later part number from I think it's the Passat or something. The part number crosses over. It looks dimensionally the same. We'll give it a try and see if we like better. After we get the climate control stuff in, we're also going to run power cable. And then once all that stuff is done, we'll run the wiring harness, which is sitting over here on this engine. Run that through, and then engine time. So got a lot to do. Not a ton of time to do it, but yeah. Hopefully, I think Nick's coming back today. I can't thank Nick enough. He's done this. We've done this for each other a couple times too, because we 3B swapped his car. We've done a lot of work together over the years, and it's always super beneficial having another set of eyes, another set of hands, somebody to just keep you motivated. That's one of the biggest parts about it is sometimes, like even right now, like when I'm out here by myself, I'm just like dragging. I don't want to go out. I don't want to work on stuff. But then knowing, okay, Nick's coming over, I got to get some stuff done. I got to get things ready so that when he gets here, it's effective work. It really pushes you and really helps. So, friends make all the difference. And it's great having good friends that hopefully enjoy this work and hopefully enjoy what they're doing and the process involved. So Nick actually used to drive I loaned him my Coupe Quattro for a little while, and he drove it a bunch with the Volvo Turbo, and he loves that turbo too. And he actually has one for his S6 Avant that we'll probably install sometime in the near future. I think we got to do a whole timing belt service and some other stuff on his car and get some maintenance caught up on it. So I'll have plenty of time to pay back the favor and all the help that he's given me. So again, huge shout out. Friends make all the difference. It's awesome. I had Ryan come over. Ryan just busted out that rain tray like it was no big, or not rain tray, the battery tray. And, he does that for a living. Well, not work on old Audis and pull out battery trays, but he works in a body shop. And so having somebody who really knows what they're doing and have professional tools and just hey, yeah, I'll just run over. I got that. I got Sim Sealer. We got this. And, having friends that want to help and are able to help is so good to have. It's super beneficial. So yeah, like I said, I'm probably going to detach this next so that we can pull out the entire heater box. I got to take off my bolts in here too. Let's see, what else do we got to do? The actual wiring all goes down through there. We'll have to get all that out. It's not going to be fun. Hopefully it'll be worth it. Again, at this point, I'm not deleting or I'm not changing the transmission. This is something that was asked for me to talk about a little bit, so maybe I'll mention it now. O1Es and O1A transmissions are super similar. They have the same bolt patterns. And so the same engines that'll hook up to an O1A will also hook up to an O1E. Same stack height for your transmission, well, your clutch assembly, I'll call it. So pressure plate, flywheel, and the actual clutch disc. They also use the same splined clutch disc. Super, super easy. So like if you have an O&E or you have an O&A, any other engine that bolts up to the O&E will also bolt up to your O&A. Super, super, super easy. Really nice when you're trying to do these kind of things. So like I said, like right now I can leave this O&A in and it'll be fine. And then when I want to switch to O&E, I can switch the O&E out. I don't have to change the assembly of the clutch or anything. It's just, it'll all bolt up just the same way. So that's really, really beneficial, really easy to do. And nice that Audi did that. In earlier years, when you talk about like the 016 transmission, the 016 transmission had a totally different input shaft, different splines. And even within the 016, there are variations of it. It also doesn't adapt to as many engine types as well. And yeah, so like the B3, when you think about the B3, you can, anything that hooks up to like a B5, B6 even, all those engines bolt right up to the same O1A or O1E transmission out of these cars. So pretty universal, pretty easy to do. And like I said, you don't have to change any of your clutch or any of that stuff. So that's a good thing. Progress updates. Climate control box is out. It's over there. Now we're going to pull wiring out. We're also running a new battery cable. It's a 1 gauge welding cable that we're actually using. We're going to tuck it all behind and run it to the back. Right now we're going to start pulling this wiring for the ECU over to the driver's side and then start disconnecting stuff under here, sending it out through the engine bay for the stuff that is from the motor harness. So that's the next step, which is the crappy step. So here we go. 7A harness is out. There are a few parts that we want to save. This power wire is not in the ABY wiring loom because the battery's under the back seat, and so there's this power cable running from the back seat up to the fuse panel. But on this car, we're going to keep this, so I'm going to pull this out of this harness. Okay, Nick finished pulling the engine harness through the firewall here. So it's in. We have our power cable that is not included in the ABY stuff. This will sit up here and it'll live under the firewall. We'll actually put it under this jigger here. And then, yeah, we got wires on wires. So basically everything is in. We also put a vacuum line over here through a firewall and a grommet over here. We have the battery cable ran up here. We're gonna run a power post right here where we made little holes for it. And yeah, and then eventually we're gonna put an engine right here. That's the eventual plan. We still got the wiring harness out. We gotta wire the connections, but it's through the firewall. And this is kind of officially the halfway point. Because now everything that's coming out has been pulled out, and so everything just has to be put back in at this point. So it's actually just over halfway point since we've already started putting stuff back in. So a lot of work to do. It is not going to happen this weekend. So I hope you weren't expecting it to be in. I kind of was hoping, but there was too many side projects that needed to happen, like the heater core stuff, the battery box stuff. But in all honesty, it's a really good, lot of progress. So yeah, Nick has abandoned me. I'm on my own, left to my own devices. So now's the time to really screw things up. Just a progress report. So the new ABY wiring harness is in. It's all hooked up to the fuse panel. Most of the connections are all hooked up. Battery cables ran. We have a fancy pants positive post up in here. Got all the wiring. Still no engine, but we're working on that too. I'm actually working on heater core stuff. So heater core that was in there, control unit, all this fun stuff. It sucks. It's terrible. This whole vacuum port plug, it's a made in the USA product. It's a GM unit and it's utter trash. This is a manual climate control box. and the other half of it's back over there somewhere. I also have a metal, or all metal, heater core. So I just took the heater core out of here. Doesn't look too bad, but it does look like it had a small leak causing rust. But as you can see, dimensionally they're the same height, same everything. Pipes go more or less the same way, same direction, come out same way. Same overall length. So yeah, we're gonna give one of these a try. These are from like the later Passat or something like that. So yeah, don't know how it works, never tried one, but looks decent. Guess we'll have to give it a whirl. I've replaced a lot of heater cores. I buy a lot of these cars with broken heater cores, so it's a common thing. The other thing we're going to do while this is all apart is flaps. So our flaps are degrading here, and it's just peeling off, and it's just going to get worse from here on out. So we're going to peel the rest of this junk off, and we're going to replace it with new foam and be happy for the next 20 years. So that's the plan. And yeah, even I mean, look at this thing. This is actually, I'm 99% sure this is an original heater core made in West Germany. So I think it's safe to presume that that is the original. You can see these flaps are definitely worse for the wear, and I'm sure the heater ones in here are bad. I found bits and pieces of that foam material in the vents. So like, this is one of the floor vents that comes out, and this actually had a big chunk of it in there. So I'm sure there's many pieces missing. So we'll replace that, and this is just stuff that you definitely should do it while it's out. And it sucks. It's time consuming. It is not rewarding. But it makes the car a lot better. And like I said, having that manual heater control box simplifies everything. So I might wrap this video here, even though I'm going to continue to do some of this work. This is it's a little past the halfway point. So we've removed everything that's getting removed, and we're rebuilding it now. So honest, if I had to think of how many hours, I mean, Nick and I were here from noon to 10-ish. No, not even that late. Yesterday. Yeah, I mean, we probably put in 8 hours yesterday, and we probably put in probably maybe 6 today. So, I mean, we're not talking a ton of time. And like I said, it's pretty stripped out. I wished we had gotten a little bit further, but there was just so many other small things that we were trying to accomplish and extras, and it wasn't just a straight, toss it in, yank it out. I'm going to come out here probably every night this week, just tinker around, at least get a couple hours worth of work done, and just keep wrenching away on it. And that'll probably be the next video.